Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Polina. In today's video, I want to share with you guys German culture shocks. I moved to Germany about half a year ago, and before moving I was living in Spain, and I'm originally from Russia. So a lot of the things that I found here after the move were really unexpected for me. And I want to mention that all of these things are of course just my experience, and it's really based on the area where I live, which is Bavaria, a small town in Bavaria. So for sure a person who lives in Berlin or Hamburg, they're gonna have a completely different experience. And also I just want to mention that somehow this list ends up always having more negative things than positive, even though I did include some positive things. But just don't get offended if you're local. I love Germany, I love living here, and these are just some things that really surprised me. Okay, I'm gonna start with the good. The first thing that actually surprised me is, there is this stereotype about German people that they are somehow kind of rude or closed or cold, kind of like the Russians that don't smile and this type of thing. And especially I heard comments about it specifically related to Bavaria and like small towns, like people are more closed-minded and so on. And after half a year of living here, I'm actually surprised that people are really friendly. And me and my partner, we actually live in a small town. It's less than 20,000 people, and we're foreigners, and there are not so many foreigners. And during this past 6 months, we didn't have any type of situation when somebody was being rude or anything like that. In fact, there were several situations when people would actually approach us on the street. Like there was a situation a couple of weeks ago when we were in the Alps, in a small town in the Alps, and we were a little bit lost. We didn't know where to go. We were looking for a specific neighborhood in that town, and somebody just saw that we were lost and that we were like wondering where to go next. And they approached us asking, hey, where are you going? Where do you have to go? And literally like talking to us then for 10-15 minutes, just having a conversation, all in English as well. Like it's so nice. And then just a week ago, there was another similar situation in the car cleaning place. We were about to clean the car and we couldn't understand any of the, what the buttons mean in German. And this person just comes to us and starts to explain everything in English. Super friendly, like literally we have not asked even for help or anything. People just approach when they see that you're lost, when you're confused and so on. So I definitely think that people here are super friendly. I haven't had any negative experience in terms of that. Alright, next culture shock is food. Again, after living in Spain for 6 years, you get used to a certain quality of food. And by certain quality, I mean the food in Spain is amazing. The seafood, the fresh fish all year long. The cuisine itself is all influenced by Italy and France, and there is a Catalan and Spanish, and it's all a beautiful mix of amazing food. And moving to Germany after that and finding out that most of the restaurants in the town where we live literally serve bratwurst and sauerkraut, schnitzel, and that's more or less it. Literally, there is no variety of food here. There are quite many restaurants in the city where we live, but most of them serve exactly the same food, which I just described. So it's really kind of disappointing because things like bratwurst, super nice and tasty when you come to Germany for vacations, and you eat the sausages and so on. But when you live here, and I don't even eat meat a lot at all, and everywhere I go in a restaurant, there is no fish, there is mostly meat, pork and sausages, and the dishes are not very elaborated either, so it's literally piece of meat and a side dish. And yeah, I just really miss seafood. But after a while I actually started to get used to it, and in supermarkets there is actually fresh fish. It's much more expensive than in Spain, at least twice more expensive. But if you really want it, you can always get fish in a supermarket and just cook it yourself. Alright, next culture shock is about winter here. And actually, crazy, as I'm recording this, there is literally a not a snowstorm, but it's 2nd of April, guys, and it's snowing a lot. I see everything white right now from the windows, and it's 2nd of April. There was no even snow in winter, and now everything is white. What's going on? But I saw that everywhere in Europe now it's like this. But anyways, My point is about winter and how it was really shocking to me of how everything kind of shuts down in winter. I mean, the weather in winter is realistically not the best, and it's very understandable that there is not much going on and people are mostly inside and so on. But again, like living in a big city, I'm sure there is a lot of things going on all year long, no matter what the season is. But living in a small town, it was really dead in winter, and I made several videos about it. I made a video specifically about winter in Germany, and yeah, that was really shocking and affected me a lot this winter because I was not ready for that. I did not speak German well enough yet to go to classes and, you know, like be with people and so on, and the weather was constantly cold and raining, so you couldn't really be outside, and so that period in January, February really affected me in a bad way in terms of mental health, because I was just really literally at home all the time. And yeah, there is like nothing going on, there is no one on the street, shops closed really early in the evening, which actually is another culture shock. In this town where I live, everything closes at 6:30. That's so early for me. Like when you if you finish work at 6, you have like what, 30 minutes to go, and to if you need to go and buy something, it's like super weird. But anyways, yes, winter months were really kind of a shock because everything was empty, dead, and kind of in a hibernating mode. But next year I'm going to be ready for that. The next culture shock is mail. I mean, I guess this is a very typical point. I'm not going to go dive deep in that, but pretty much everything in Germany is done by mail, like normal post. They send you everything by post, which is absolutely insane in 2022. But after a while, I actually realized that the post is so efficient. I mean, inside Germany, letters come within 1 day, I think, which is impressive. When I'm waiting for something, some paper, and they tell me, oh, la la la, we have sent you a letter, it literally comes next day to my place, even if it's a completely like different region of Germany. So that's kind of impressive. But in the beginning, it was definitely a shock because I mean, everything is done digitally. In Spain, at least, like most of the things, you can apply to things online. They can send you confirmations by email. Here in Germany, everything mail. So be ready to have a separate room just for letters. The next culture shock is also a huge one, and it's related to like generally technologies. And yeah, it's a bit related to the post as well, but like generally technologies, what is going on here in Germany? Like we found out that they have internet technologies like from early 2000s because the government decided to not change the cables, like they don't have fiber in most of the places and things like this. But also, if you just go to the internet, you need to check some business, some, I don't know, some shop, some restaurant, how the websites look. It literally, like, when I just came, I was looking for yoga classes here in the town where I live, and I'm actually gonna paste some screenshots from the websites that I encountered. But looking at that website, I thought, oh my god, this has not been updated since early 2000s. But then I realized that it has been updated and it is actually a working website. Like the design, the technology of a website was literally from 20 years ago. And again, this is just like one example, but like everything related to technologies is super strange in Germany. They don't use credit cards in many restaurants, like they just literally use cash. And yeah, things like this, super strange. I don't remember any other examples, but there were like a ton of examples of everything to do with like modern technologies, like the things that other countries are already using. For some reason, Germany is refusing to use them. That was a massive shock. The next culture shock is public transportation and like how expensive it is and how nobody actually uses it. So okay, there is Deutsche Bahn, you know, the German rail, and the prices of a train trip are completely insane. If I go to Nuremberg, which is the closest big city to me, and it's like 40 minutes away, the price would be like 25 euros. In Spain, this literally cost 4.90. Like going from a city like 40 minutes, 1 hour from Barcelona to Barcelona, it would take like around 5 euros. So yeah, it's completely insane, and because of that, nobody is using public transport. So one day I actually went to another town to a swimming pool, and the train was completely empty. So everyone just goes by car, and it is convenient because actually there is always parking, the streets are not as narrow as it's like in Spain, for example. Yeah, there is like a lot of space, so it's quite convenient. But I don't drive car yet, I'm learning, and the public transport prices were a complete shock to me. So I'm like, okay, I have to learn to drive, because it just doesn't make sense to use public transport and pay so much money for it. And for the last culture shock, I picked something actually nice, and I was really surprised of actually how warm and how sunny, especially not warm, how sunny it is most of the time. Winter is an exception, but when I came from Spain, I mean, in Spain it's like sunny 95% of the days probably, and I came in September when it was still pretty much like 30 degrees, sunny, like completely summer in Spain. And I don't know, I had this stereotype as well in my head that in Germany it's always raining, always gray, the weather is super bad all the time. And I was surprised of how much sun there was, and it was sunny literally day after day after day. There was some varieties, sometimes it did rain of course, but generally like throughout the whole period of fall, there was so many sunny days and it was so beautiful. That was really surprising to me, that even in autumn there was so much sun, because actually in Russia, where I'm from, autumn is like the worst period because there is still no snow, and October and November are completely like gray, black, and it's constantly raining. And in Germany it was super sunny and beautiful, and yeah, that was also quite surprising in a nice way. Then the winter came, and yes, it was pretty much gray for several months. But then March came and it became super sunny again. And I'm sure that summer is gonna be also super warm and sunny. So yeah, in general, I'm quite surprised in a good way about the weather here. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video. Give a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos about living in Germany, vlogs from living in Germany, and also self-development content, coaching content, and much more. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.